Happy farming FriYay, whether you're a farmer, whether you just consume or wear anything, you have an interest in farming and you don't even know maybe that you have an interest in farming. But I love when kids are interested in agriculture in a different way. And if you go to any of the 4-H events, the Farm Bureau events, any of the Future Farmers of America events brought to you by our friends at Farm Bureau and Farm Credit Mid-America, and any of our ag centers who are around Middle Tennessee, you get to see some kids who are passionate about the food of our future.
You get in there, you know what you got to do. You block everybody else out, and it's just you and him and the judge, no one else.
For Jake Osborne, showing hogs is more than just a hobby. It's a passion and a classroom for life lessons.
It teaches you how to be a good person, teach you a good sport, win or lose. You always go, congratulations. Don't matter if they beat you and you didn't like it, you always do.
Osborne has been showing hogs for 10 years. One of those many life lessons he's learned over those 10 years is the value of hard work. And that hard work paid off as he finished first overall in his division.
Every day at the barn, brushing, getting to know them, they kind of become your best friend. It's about like a dancing partner. You can't win a dance competition if your partner ain't wanting to cooperate. Well, he did today. Now, tomorrow I do this, he might not. As he said, he might be fed up with it. But it's all about your partner and what you put in that hole.
The animals are really just the vehicle, teaching these kids responsibility, teaching them leadership. You know, they got to get up early in the morning before they go to school and tend to their animals, check on them when they get home. You know, there's a lot more that goes into it than just being in the show ring.
Tennessee 4-H Development Director Justin Crow says state 4-H livestock shows like this are critical for these kids' development and for the overall future of agriculture.
These young people are really the future of agriculture, and in many ways the present day agriculture. They're helping their families on the family farm. Those that don't live on a farm are helping grandparents or friends on their farm, and agriculture kids get it.
There's a bunch of different emotions, mostly excitement, just knowing that what I put in paid off.
Kyra Phillips is the Senior Level 2 winner in showmanship. She too is thankful for the opportunity to show and learn from her experiences.
When I started out, I was not that good. I had no idea what I was doing. So just from like sitting back and watching the kids that were older than me, I really learned a lot doing that. The most important thing to me was watching that how much time that I spent at the barn walking my pigs. I just felt like that was a reward for how much time I really put into it and watching all that pay off.
And that training and hard work starts at a young age, like Jake Osborne's cousin, 4th grader J.C. Phillips, who competed and won first place in her division in showmanship.
It's fun. You get to have fun. You get to just like work really hard and have fun. You get to spoil your pigs if you want. It's really fun.
And that fun can turn into a lifelong love for agriculture.
It's like a professional football player. When they're on that field, they're out there playing what they love, and I'm doing what I love. And when they win, it takes a minute to soak in, because I can't believe they just won it.
Fire, bring on the rain. Nothing can take you down. Crashing like thunder, steel in your veins. Nothing can take you down.
And we join Gene Garcia from Heartland's Adult and Teen Challenge, our February visit for the Hope Show. And so glad to have you here, Gene. It's wonderful to have you during our month of love.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here during the month of love. Thank God for love. I wouldn't be here. So.
Amen. And we're talking about that wonderful agape love that's available to everybody. Yeah. You have been doing some really cool outreach. You got to go into Nashville recently. You want to tell us a little bit about what that experience was like?
Yeah. So, I got to go to Nashville, a church out there where they were feeding homeless, and there's a ministry that works in there. And I got an opportunity to speak with the homeless people, and pastor, that's my friend, he went with me, and we were both able to speak, and we had a table set up. It was just really cool how the Lord made a way, and we were able to get on a mic, which they usually don't have in that cafeteria. And
Wow.
I got to lead a gentleman in a salvation prayer, and and encourage some folk and share my story. So that was really, really cool.
When you take this message of hope and share the good news, as the gospel says, share the good news. I always think about that parable about the seed, that some seed fall by the wayside and some fall on the rocky ground, but it's those fertile ones that fall right there in the middle that take root. And that's the way you have to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah. And, me and a gentleman yesterday, we were talking about something like that. We were talking about, he's saying, the harvest is coming, get ready, and I was saying to him, I said, oh yeah, as I was talking to him, I got the thought, the seeds are getting planted. And like you were saying, then they're the ones that take root, and then there'll be a shoot, and then the fruit will show that. It's just the wait,
It's the wait
right now.
It's the wait. What can you give to parents and to family members of those who are suffering from addiction to give them hope if they've been trying, and maybe they've tried a couple of times, maybe they've gotten them into rehab before and they just need some hope? How many times sometimes does it take to get someone to come into the program?
Well, I had a gentleman ask me that, yesterday during a lunch meeting. He said, well, what brought you to the point, pretty much of where you said that was it? And pretty much I told him, a lot of bad experiences were one, but those weren't the driving factors, because there's a lot of bad stuff that happened in my family, a lot of bad stuff I've seen, drug accident in my family, and I still went to all that stuff. But what it really was the power of Jesus Christ. And people continuing to pray for me and being obedient, even when they were frustrated, even when they felt like they wanted to give up. They kept praying and praying and praying. And I believe that's what brought me to my knees and had me cry out to God, because he was moving. Now I still had the choice to choose, that or something else. But eventually I chose him.
I always say we're always for the power of free will until someone else uses theirs.
Yeah.
I know. As long as it's my free will, I'm good with that. When somebody else decides to do something that's not in my wheelhouse, I'm going,
Yeah.
Oh, Gene, you go to speak to churches and anywhere this program might be helpful. Let's talk about being an advocate for someone who is in jail. Have you ever gone to speak on the behalf of someone who has been incarcerated?
Absolutely. Just recently, a couple of weeks ago, I went for a gentleman who was, he filled out the pre-screen in the Rutherford County Jail, the questionnaire, whatever you want to call it. And I was working with him, working with his family. I went and visited him in the jail, and he was really happy and encouraged, and he was motivated. I shared with him my testimony. I asked him if I could pray for him, and he was really with it. And then I went to court, and I was supposed to, for this particular instance, I was supposed to testify at the hearing. And as I was sitting there, I prayed, Lord, if it's your perfect will, open doors miraculously no man could shut, so I could testify in the hearing. If it's not, close your doors miraculously no man or woman could open, so I can't. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I feel led to pray about that now? I'm like, I'm here. I had to get up early. Like, why are you making me pray that now? Yeah. And then sure enough, the attorney came out, and he's like, man, I think it's better if we don't have you on the hearing, you just speak with the DA. And so I spoke with the DA. I spoke with some other people. I was able to testify. Make a short story long, the guy got court ordered to the program. He's there now. But as I was waiting to speak with him, there's another man sitting on the bench, and he kept looking at me. And then he striked up a conversation with me. Found out he had a series of legal problems that I actually went through in the past, and so I was real relatable. And then as we were talking, I saw that he was getting more comfortable with me. And then I started to share with him some truth. And, he felt, once an addict, always an addict. And I said to him, the Bible says who the Son sets free is free indeed. And, what's maybe impossible with man is possible with God. I'm no longer a drug addict. God set me free. And at the program, you can learn tools. You get a tool belt with tools that can help you to stay free. And then I started ministering to him, and you could see in his face, he was just like, he was like, man, he never heard such truth. And then it got to a point where I busted out some scriptures on my phone, and I'm showing them to him. I thought he was going to rip the phone out of my hand. He was so hungry for it. It was awesome.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, if you'd like Gene to come talk to your church or meet with you, or maybe stand as an advocate for you to maybe get a loved one released into this program, because I looked at the statistics, Gene, of the number of people who were in prison or in jail for drug-related offenses, not selling, not just that, but literally addiction related. There's a difference between intent to sell and selling and trafficking and all that other stuff. I'm talking about people who are literally addicted and they end up in jail when they need a program more than they need a jail cell.
And, and the recidivism rate, recurrent offenders that get out and go back in, it's ridiculous. It's
right.
And they need the tools like you were talking, so they don't go back to that lifestyle.
Well, having Gene to come and speak on your loved one's behalf, or to go to your church or your organization, taking the message out, the number is 833-462-8286. If you need some help, that is the hardest phone number to call, but it will be the most important number you ever do.
Yeah, and as I was logging on to this show today, I was thinking to myself, that could be your first step, is that phone call. Mm-hmm. And if you got somewhere to go, or you got a house that has steps, or to get to where you're going in that location, you have to take the first step, and then you got to take the next step to get to that destination. And I believe there's people watching that you need to take that first step so you get to the destination that God has for you.
Amen. The number 833-462-8286. And to have Gene come and speak to your church. There's somebody listening right now that's been sold, hey, we need a speaker for our banquet. We need a speaker for our revival. We need a speaker. Gene is your guy, and you can call him at that same number and get him to come tell his story, because when you are in the throes of this, and when you have family members in the throes of this, you feel like you're the only person that's ever been affected. Ain't nobody ever felt it like you. Nobody's ever been addicted like you. We are unique individuals. And what's the first thing we learn in this program? We are not terminally unique.
That's a lie that always got me. I'm the only one. I'm so horrible. Well, I'm the only one. No one will understand me. How can I tell anybody? Don't think I'm crazy.
And I love the joy that Gene has. Adult and Teen Challenge, the Heartland Adult and Teen Challenge, Murfreesboro, Clarksville, and Memphis. And there's a program that's just right for you. And it is affordable. And I love that. 833-462-8286. If you're watching this right now, you know what you know what you know. If you need it, you call that number and you will find hope. Isn't that right?
That's the truth. Yeah. Just pick up the phone. Got nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
That's right. And thanks to our friends at Experience Church for bringing you the Hope Show yet again. Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.
Bring on the fire, bring on the rain. Nothing can take you down. Crashing like thunder, steel in your veins. Nothing can take you down.
Do you want to come home with me?
Kom er maar.
Oh.
Hi, baby.
There is nothing like goats and sheep talking like a human, screaming like a woman. They're so funny. If you don't have goats or sheep, well, you probably are better off. I mean, speaking of a goat owner, there are times when you just go, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Excuse me. That's brought to you by our friends over at 50 Forward. 50 Forward has centers all around Middle Tennessee, and it's just such a cool place. It's just such a cool place. Anybody who's my age, like if you're 50 and over, you will find such fellowship and fun at 50 Forward. Great place to eat, place to dance, place to have play bingo. I mean, there's all sorts of activities. So you go to 50forward.com and find out a little bit more about what they do around Middle Tennessee. But here's what they want you to do. They want your numbers as people 50 and above to be counted. Whatever race you are, whatever age you are, you have specific health needs and health issues. And so if you go to the National Institute of Health's site for this new research study, you and your voice and your statistics can be counted. So it can be useful for funding for programs in the near future. The National Institute of Health has partnered with joinallofus.org/50forward. Joinallofus.org/50forward, and you can put in your information and be a part of what we do every day. You guys, it is Farmin FriYay, and there's so many fun things to do, but there's also jobs to be had. In the news this week, on Wednesday, it stated that the new In-N-Out Burger regional office will have a price point of pay at $44 an hour. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't know if that is in the burger stores, but at their regional office, the jobs are at $44 an hour. How about that? Just letting you know. You know who else is hiring? Walmart Supply Chain is hiring in Lebanon. Earn up to $22.25 an hour when you join our new fulfillment center. Enjoy competitive pay and premium perks, including 100% paid college tuition, 401k match, flexible schedules, a free Walmart Plus membership that includes discounts, and free Paramount Plus, paid time off, and so much more. Fulfilling work starts right here. Text JOIN to 240-240. That's JOIN 240-240 to apply now.
Of course, the Rose Parade is all about agriculture and living and growing things. Well, in the Louisiana float, we go a step further. We bring Lainey Wilson, the farm girl from Northeast Louisiana, to ride on the Louisiana float. Lainey, thank you so much for visiting with us today. Tell us about this experience for you.
This is so exciting. I mean, first of all, you know I'm very proud of where I come from. Us Louisiana girls, like, we can't help it, you know?
That's right.
And I'm just, you know, no matter what, I feel like you can take the girl out of Louisiana, but you can't take the Louisiana out the girl, and that's how I feel. And I feel like I'm at home right now. I truly do, with so many Louisiana folks around, and I'm so glad to be representing. It's just a good feeling.
Talk about your background for those that don't know you, because you have a whole new audience now. You are I call you the reigning queen of country music right now. You're the hottest thing going. Talk about your background and growing up on a farm in Northeast Louisiana.
Yep. So I'm from a little bitty town, which she's been there a time or two. Yeah. A town of 200 and some change. I'm so proud of where I come from. It's a big farming community. My daddy farms corn, wheat, soybeans, oats. They had me working my fingers to the bone as a child. Honestly, I think it taught me the meaning of hard work, and I think that's why I've never given up with what I'm doing now. I mean, at the end of the day, you get up every day, you do the same thing. You have good years, you have bad years, and I saw that firsthand. And I knew that there was going to be some struggles, but I also knew that if it's in your heart and in your soul, then you just get up and you do it anyway.
So you think it's influenced you as an artist?
It absolutely has. I feel like it taught me how to hold on. You know, even growing up around horses. I remembered, you know, Daddy put me on this horse that wasn't broke, and it ended up becoming my horse, and it ended up being one of the best horses ever. But I remember he was bucking, and I was wanting down, and I'm like, let me down. But I remember him telling me, no, you better hold on. And I think back to that all the time. I think back to that certain scenario when I was 9 years old. And anytime I feel like giving up and letting go, I don't. I'm just like, no, that's not the kind of people that Louisiana folks raise.
That's right. The life kind of wants to buck you off sometimes, but that rule of always hold on. Talk about this past year for you. I mean, Yellowstone, awards, #1 hits. I mean, it's got to be surreal for you in so many ways.
It is so surreal. I feel so blessed. I feel like, you know, I can't even count all the blessings that have happened this year. I will say it's been a hard year. It's been a weird year with my daddy's health, but we still have so much to celebrate, and we're doing it. Like, I feel like all the 12 years I've been in Nashville, I feel like things are finally starting to come to fruition, and we're ready to whoop some butt.
You're that 10-year overnight success,
That's
right?
what they say. Yeah.
And your dad's doing okay. He's recovering, right?
He is recovering. He's still got a little ways to go, but you know him. He's a tough cookie.
Yeah, that's right. He is a tough cookie, and we are praying and we are thinking about you, Brian Wilson, the Brian Wilson.
The Brian Wilson. We ain't talking about the Beach Boys.
That's right. That's right. Lainey, thank you so much. We appreciate you being an advocate for agriculture,
Thank you.
as well as one of our favorite daughters of Louisiana, and we just love her so much, and it's only up from here. I'm telling you what, this girl's going to take the music industry by storm, and we know that. I'm Tammi Arender here in the float barn, the Fiesta float barn in front of the Louisiana float. Back to you.
I'm so glad that Tammi lets us use those great interviews. And I just know that you are like me and you're a Lainey Wilson fan. Bask in Louisiana, giving you guys a shout out, and right outside Monroe, Louisiana. And she's the real deal, y'all. And if you don't know about Lainey Wilson's music, where have you been? Head in a hole? I mean, come on, y'all. You got to go and listen to her music and watch her on Yellowstone. Oh, we got some good news. We did a story this week. Murfreesboro.com shared some of the stories of the animals that were up for adoption at the Murfreesboro Rutherford County Paws. And look at this baby, just got adopted. Oh, I was so happy to see that. Now, there's a very important event coming up. Pets and Corvettes coming up. That's February 18th and 19th. That's this weekend. Pet adoption event sponsored by our friends over at Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro. The adoption fees are waived. Okay. You want to find out more about that? You go to Rutherford County Paws on Instagram or Facebook, get all the information. They've got another event coming up in the future in April. Save the date for Doggone Adoption event that's coming up Saturday, April 15th from 10 until 3. We'll be telling you a little bit more about that, but don't forget, Pets and Corvettes this weekend at Murfreesboro Buick GMC in Murfreesboro. I think that's really cool. They're going to waive the cost of the pet adoptions because they really want these pets adopted. Well, we have got just a little bit more in our show, but we can squeeze that orange just a little bit more and see what impact agritourism is having on our state.
Fall means the crowds are coming. 40,000 visitors expected between Labor Day and Halloween at Lucky Lad Farms in Eagleville, where they're getting ready all so people can do this. Lucky Lad is Tennessee agritourism at its best, taking a working farm and turning it into a family destination with 75 different activities.
Especially at our farm, we encourage you to be a kid again, and we try to make our attractions kid-friendly no matter your age or size. And so we give people the opportunity to sort of escape city life, disconnect and unplug.
When Amy Ladd and her husband bought this property 8 years ago, there was a house and an old barn, and since then they've added everything you see here. The animals are the most popular attraction, more than 120 playful pets, Tennessee's largest petting farm. You can also learn information about the animals and agriculture.
Our biggest push here is education, and so I think most families are 3 or 4 generations removed from the farm. I myself has come from one of those generations, so I think it's important to reconnect everybody and let them understand where their food and clothing come from and how agriculture impacts their families every day.
AgriTourism has an enormous economic impact statewide. Last year, more than 1.7 million people visited a Tennessee agritourism operation, and on average, each person spent more than $20.
Agritourism is all about the experience.
Megan LaFew with UT's Center for Profitable Agriculture works with many agritourism operations through publications and workshops. Agritourism includes hosting customers and selling products like Lucky Lad's delicious kettle corn and other from-the-farm items. LaFew says her department helps these businesses get started, maintain, and market answers to important questions.
What is it going to cost to get into business? What might be the potential return from a business? And how to reach those customers. Marketing is a huge key.
Next up for Lucky Lad, build a new barn for the animals this winter. Like a row crop operation, agritourism farms require year-round planning. Now, for many, October is their peak season, and fall is a great time to create some memories with a visit. This is Charles Denny reporting.
Well, when it comes to farming, there is no off season. There's an off season for tourism, but there's not an off season for farming. There's always something that needs to be done. And for all of our farmers and farmers who are women and the people who are gardening, you know that right now people are starting those seeds. We're getting those seeds ready and starting the indoor planting, and the greenhouses are just bustling with things to do. If you want to find out information of things that really are fun to plant this time of year and good to plant in Tennessee, well, my friends over at Bates Nursery have a show every Saturday morning, and it's fantastic. The At-Home Show with David Bates and Josh Carey. Encourage you to go and watch that on Facebook. They are fantastic. Good shout out to them, and they are in the know on what to grow. See how I did that? In the know with what to grow. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Be safe and be kind. And remember, most of all, you are loved.
We are home. We are family.